The alien ship moved through space like a giant metal whale. It was bigger than any building on Earth. Inside the ship, Commander Zeftai looked at the small blue planet through his viewing screen. His green skin had dark spots on it, and his 4 eyes blinked slowly as he studied the world below. "Another primitive world," he said to his assistant. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Begin the standard survey." The survey had been done thousands of times before. The galactic hegemony needed to know about every planet that had life on it. Some planets had smart beings who could join their empire. Others had useful resources to take, and some planets had dangerous creatures that needed to be watched carefully. Earth looked like the second type, maybe the third type, but probably not down on Earth. Captain Jake Morrison floated inside the space station that went around the planet. He was drinking coffee from a special cup that worked in zero gravity. The coffee was terrible, but it was hot. Jake had been in space for 4 months now, and he missed good coffee. His computer made a small beeping sound. Jake looked at the screen and saw a strange energy reading. It lasted for only 3 seconds, then disappeared. Jake wrote it down in his logbook as solar interference and went back to his coffee. He had no idea that alien machines were scanning his space station at that very moment. Dr. Lisa Parker was in her laboratory in Montana. She had dirt samples from all over the world spread across her desk. Lisa was trying to understand how plants grew in different types of soil. It was important work, but not very exciting. She looked through her microscope at tiny pieces of dirt and made notes about what she saw. Outside her window, she could see the big mountains covered with snow. Lisa had grown up in these mountains. She knew every trail and every stream, but she did not know that invisible alien drones were taking samples of the same dirt she was studying. The alien drones were very small and very quiet. They took pictures of everything. They measured the air and the water. They watched the humans and made notes about what they did. In Chicago, Pete Collins was under the hood of another broken car. His hands were covered in oil and grease. Pete had been fixing cars for 20 years. He could tell what was wrong with an engine just by listening to it. His small garage was full of old tools and spare parts. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust and oil. Pete did not know that alien scanners were studying his tools. The aliens wanted to know how smart humans were. They looked at human technology and compared it to their own. Human cars were very simple compared to alien ships. Human tools were basic and crude. The aliens decided that humans were not very smart. Commander Zeftai received reports from all his survey teams. The humans on Earth had just learned to travel in space, but they could barely leave their own planet. Their weapons were primitive. Their technology was hundreds of years behind even the most basic hegemony member worlds. "Threat level?" asked his assistant. "Minimal," Zeftai replied without hesitation. "Mark them as potential labor class. Nothing more." The aliens did not understand what they were really looking at. They saw Pete Collins using simple tools, but they did not see that Pete could fix almost anything with those tools. They saw Dr. Parker studying dirt, but they did not see that she was trying to feed more people with less land. They saw Jake Morrison in his simple space station, but they did not see that humans had built that station with determination and teamwork. The aliens were very smart, but they made a big mistake. They thought that having simple tools meant being simple people. They did not understand that humans were creative. They did not know that humans never gave up when things got hard. The survey drones finished their work in 3 days. They had taken thousands of pictures and measurements. They had cataloged every major city, every military base, every important building. The aliens knew where humans lived and how many there were. They knew what weapons humans had and how their governments worked, but they missed the most important things about humans. They did not measure human spirit. They could not scan human determination. Their computers could not calculate human creativity when faced with impossible problems. The alien ship prepared to leave Earth's solar system. Commander HFY sent his final report to the Galactic Council. The report was short and simple. Planet Earth, inhabited by primitive bipedal species. Technology level, basic. Military capability, minimal. Threat assessment, low. Recommendation, suitable for resource extraction and labor conscription. Schedule next survey in 500 standard years. Jake. Morrison watched a strange flash of light disappear behind the moon. He made another note in his log book about unusual energy readings. Dr. Parker found some unusual mineral traces in her soil samples, but she assumed they came from a meteor that had fallen long ago. Pete Collins noticed that his radio had static for a few minutes, but he thought it was just interference from the city. None of them knew the Earth had just been marked for conquest. The aliens thought they had found another weak world to add to their empire. They believed that, when they came back, the humans would surrender without a fight. The aliens left Earth thinking they understood everything about humans. They were completely wrong. Their mistake would cost them more than they could ever imagine. But that was still 3 years away. For now, humans went about their normal lives, not knowing that somewhere in the galaxy, powerful beings had decided their fate. The survey was complete, and Earth was labeled as just another primitive world. The aliens had no idea what was coming. 3 years had passed since the alien survey. Earth kept spinning around the sun, and humans kept living their normal lives. Jake Morrison was back on Earth now, working at NASA headquarters. Dr. Lisa Parker had moved to a bigger laboratory, where she studied soil from around the world. Pete Collins still fixed cars in his garage in Chicago, but now he had 2 employees helping him. None of them knew they had crossed the galaxy. The aliens were fighting for their lives. A Vingzani swarm had appeared from nowhere. These creatures were different from anything the galactic hegemony had ever seen. They were part machine and part living thing. Their ships looked like giant insects made of metal and flesh. They ate planets. Not just the resources on planets, but the entire planets themselves. The hegemony had fought the swarm for 2 years. They had lost 17 star systems. Billions of aliens had died. Their best warships were destroyed. Their strongest weapons barely slowed the swarm down. Commander HFY was no longer exploring new worlds. Now he commanded a battle fleet that was running from the swarm. His beautiful ship was covered in scars from energy blasts. Half his crew was dead. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. They needed every resource they could find. Every world had to contribute ships, soldiers, and materials to fight the swarm. What about the primitive worlds? Asked Counselor Vrexon. Even the weak ones must help. Send conscription fleets to all raided worlds, ordered the council leader. Even the minimal threat planets must provide what they can. That was how Earth got noticed again. The aliens needed everything they could get, even from primitive humans. Admiral Krindar received orders to collect resources from 12 primitive worlds. Earth was on his list. He looked at the survey report from 3 years ago. Minimal threat, basic technology, perfect for conscription. His fleet of 30 ships jumped through space toward Earth's solar system. Krindar had done this many times. Before, primitive species always surrendered when they saw the power of hegemony warships. Then they provided workers and resources for the war effort. It was simple and quick, but Earth was not simple. President Kate Williams was in the White House when the alien ships appeared. It was a Tuesday morning, and she was drinking coffee while reading reports about the economy. Her coffee cup was halfway to her lips when her phone rang. "Madam President," said General Ryan Hughes. His voice was tight with controlled panic. "We have a situation. You need to get to the Situation Room right now." 5 minutes later, President Williams sat in the underground command center, surrounded by her top advisors. On the big screen in front of them was a picture from the Hubble telescope. 30 massive ships hung in space just outside Earth's atmosphere. "Are they ours?" she asked, even though she knew the answer. "No, ma'am," said Secretary of Defense Amy Clark. "They appeared 15 minutes ago. No known technology could build ships that large." The alien message came through every radio, television, and internet connection on Earth at the same time. Admiral Krindar's voice was translated into every human language automatically. "Primitive inhabitants of the third planet," the message began. "I am Admiral Krindar of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been selected for resource conscription. You will surrender all military forces immediately. You will provide workers for our war effort. You will give us all materials we require. Compliance is not optional. You have one of your standard time periods to respond. Resistance will result in orbital bombardment." The message ended, and the Situation Room was silent. "What do we do?" asked General Hughes. President Williams looked around the room at her advisors. She thought about her children, her grandchildren, and all the people she had sworn to protect. She thought about every human who had ever lived and died for freedom. "We tell them no," she said quietly. "Ma'am?" said Secretary Clark. "We tell them no," President Williams repeated, louder this time. "And then we prepare for war." What the aliens did not know was that humans had been preparing for this moment without knowing it. Every science fiction movie, every book about alien invasion, every war game and military exercise had been practiced for this day. Within hours, every military base on Earth went dark. Communications switched to systems that the aliens could not monitor. Soldiers moved to hidden positions. Scientists went to secret laboratories. Dr. Sam Mitchell had been working on quantum physics. Problems in his basement laboratory at MIT. He was trying to understand how energy and matter worked at the smallest levels. It was theoretical work, the kind that might be useful someday in the future. Suddenly, Sam's work was not theoretical anymore. The government needed practical applications of quantum mechanics, and they needed them now. Staff Sergeant Maria Santos was training her unit in urban warfare at Fort Bragg when the aliens arrived. Her soldiers were practicing how to fight in cities, using buildings and streets as cover. It was just training, a way to stay ready for conflicts that might never come. Now, Maria realized that her training was about to save lives. The aliens would probably land in cities. Her soldiers knew how to fight in cities. All over Earth, humans were making the same discovery. The things they had learned, the skills they had developed, the knowledge they had gained, all of it was suddenly important in ways they had never imagined. Jake Morrison was called back to NASA immediately. His experience in space made him valuable in ways that no one had planned. Dr. Lisa Parker found that her knowledge of Earth's soil and plants was crucial for understanding what resources the aliens might want. Pete Collins learned that his ability to fix complex machines with simple tools was exactly what the resistance needed. The aliens waited for Earth's surrender. They were confident that it would come. No primitive species had ever refused conscription. The humans would see the size of the alien fleet and give up, just like every other weak species. But humans were not like every other species. President Williams sent her reply exactly 24 hours after the alien ultimatum. It was broadcast on every frequency that Earth could reach, sent directly to the alien fleet. "This is President Kate Williams of Earth," she said. "We have received your demands. Our answer is no. Earth does not surrender. Earth does not give up. If you want our world, you will have to take it. But know this, We will fight you with everything we have. We will make you pay for every mile of ground. And we will never stop fighting until you leave or until there are no humans left to fight. The message was simple and clear. Admiral Krindar could not believe what he was hearing. No primitive species had ever responded like this. Begin orbital bombardment, he ordered. Target their military installations first. The alien attack began, and humanity's first interstellar war started, with fire falling from the sky. The first alien attack hit military bases around the world. Beams of green energy fell from the sky like deadly rain. Each beam could destroy a building in seconds. The aliens expected human resistance to collapse immediately. Instead, something strange happened. The humans scattered like ants when their hill is kicked, but they did not run away. They spread out and kept fighting. Admiral Krindar watched the battle reports with growing confusion. His energy weapons were destroying human targets perfectly, but somehow the humans were still fighting back. Every base that was destroyed had been mostly empty when the attack came. The humans had moved their people and equipment before the bombardment began. How did they know where we would strike? He asked his tactical officer. Unknown, sir. Perhaps they have better detection systems than we thought. But it was not detection systems. It was human nature. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. They knew that the first rule of survival was to not be where the enemy expected you to be. The real shock came when the aliens landed ground troops. They expected to find broken, defeated humans ready to surrender. Instead, they found enemies who fought in ways that made no sense. Lieutenant Alex Foster led his Marines through the ruins of Los Angeles. The city had been hit hard by the orbital bombardment, but Alex and his men had been in the mountains when the attack came. Now they were back, and they were angry. The alien soldiers were 8 feet tall and covered in armor that could stop bullets. They carried weapons that fired bolts of plasma energy. They should have been able to defeat human soldiers easily. But Alex had something the aliens did not expect. He had studied every science fiction movie ever made about alien invasions. He knew that energy shields worked differently than physical armor. Use the old rifles, he told his men. The ones that fire solid bullets. Aim for the joints in their armor. The Marines switched to weapons that were 50 years old. Bullets that should have been useless against advanced alien technology somehow found weak spots in the alien armor. The energy shields that stopped laser weapons and explosives could not handle simple pieces of metal moving very fast. The aliens began to die-engineer. Tony Rodriguez was in his workshop in Detroit when the invasion began. Tony had spent his whole life fixing things that other people said could not be fixed. He could make a broken car run with spare parts from a junkyard. When the power grid was destroyed by alien weapons, Tony did not despair. He started building electromagnetic pulse devices using parts from old television sets and car batteries. The devices were crude and dangerous, but they worked. They could shut down alien equipment for several minutes at a time. Tony taught other people how to build the devices. Soon, humans all over the world were making EMP weapons in their garages and basements. The aliens found that their advanced technology kept breaking down for reasons they could not understand. Dr. Nicole Adams was trapped in Chicago when the city was attacked. The university where she worked was destroyed, but Nicole escaped too. The subway tunnels under the city. She was not alone. Hundreds of other people had found shelter in the tunnels. Nicole was a physicist. She understood how energy worked. When the resistance fighters brought her pieces of destroyed alien equipment, she began to figure out how alien technology functioned. The alien power cells were incredibly advanced, but they worked on principles that Nicole recognized. She had studied similar ideas in graduate school. Within a week, she had built a crude copy of an alien power cell using human materials. The copy only worked for a few hours before it broke down, but that was enough. Nicole shared her discoveries with scientists around the world through hidden internet connections. Soon, humans were building their own versions of alien technology. But the biggest shock for the aliens was not human technology. It was human. Behavior. Captain Brad Thompson and his Army unit were surrounded in a farmhouse outside Denver. 50 alien soldiers had them trapped. The aliens demanded surrender, offering to spare human lives if the soldiers gave up. Brad looked at his men. They were scared, but they were not defeated. These soldiers had volunteered to protect their country and their families. They would not surrender while Earth was being invaded. "You boys know what we have to do," Brad said quietly. His men nodded. They had enough explosives to destroy the farmhouse and everything around it. They could take a lot of aliens with them. The aliens waited for the humans to surrender. Instead, the farmhouse exploded. Brad Thompson and his entire unit died, but they took 37 alien soldiers with them. This type of behavior was completely unknown in galactic warfare. Civilized species surrendered when they were defeated. They did not blow themselves up just to kill their enemies. The aliens began to realize that humans were not civilized in any way they understood. Marine Staff Sergeant Maria Santos had been training soldiers for urban warfare. Now she was using that training for real. Maria's unit moved through the ruins of Miami, hunting alien patrols. The aliens were stronger and better armed, but they did not understand cities the way humans did. They moved in formation through the streets, easy targets for snipers hiding in buildings. They used their energy weapons to blast through walls, not knowing that humans had prepared traps on the other side. Maria's favorite tactic was to let alien patrols enter a building, then collapse the building on top of them using explosives placed in the basement. It was not elegant, but it worked. The aliens had never fought an enemy that turned entire cities into weapons. Joe Patterson was a farmer in Iowa. He had been growing corn and raising cattle his whole life. Joe knew more about chemistry than most college graduates because he had to understand fertilizers, pesticides, and animal medications. When alien ground troops reached Iowa, Joe was ready for them. He had turned his knowledge of farm chemicals into weapons. His homemade explosives were more powerful than military grenades. His improvised poison gas could clear aliens out of buildings without harming the crops and livestock. The aliens had expected to easily control rural areas. Instead, they found that human farmers were some of their most dangerous enemies. 12-year-old Kevin Wright was just a kid who liked to play with toy drones. He could fly his small aircraft through his neighborhood with perfect control, dodging trees and power lines for fun. When the resistance needed small spy devices to watch alien movements, Kevin's toy drones were perfect. He modified them with tiny cameras and flew them over alien positions. The information Kevin gathered helped human fighters plan their attacks. The aliens never expected children to be part of the war effort. 6 months after the invasion began, Admiral Krindar faced a terrible truth. His forces were not winning. They were not even holding their own. Humans were getting stronger every day, while his forces grew weaker. Every piece of alien equipment that was captured was immediately studied by human scientists. Every dead alien was examined to find weak points in their armor and biology. Every failed attack taught humans new tactics. The species that should have surrendered in days was instead learning to fight aliens better than species that had been in space for thousands of years. Admiral Krindar sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. The message was simple but terrifying. Request immediate reinforcements. Humans are not what we thought they were. Admiral Krindar stood in his command center and stared at the reports coming in from Earth. 6 months ago, he had commanded 30 warships and 15,000 soldiers. Now he had 18 ships left and fewer than 8,000 troops. Still alive, the humans were not just fighting back anymore. They were hunting his forces. It had started small. A few missing patrol groups. Some equipment that stopped working for unknown reasons. Communications being jammed in certain areas. Krindar had assumed these were normal problems that happened during any occupation, but the problems kept getting worse. Now entire alien units were disappearing overnight. Human fighters were appearing in places where they should not be able to survive. And somehow, the humans were using alien technology better than the aliens themselves. Down on Earth, the resistance had evolved into something far more dangerous than the aliens had imagined. What had started as scattered military units had become a global network of fighters who shared information and resources instantly. Commander Ben Jackson had been a Navy SEAL before the invasion. Now he led a team of specialists who had one job: capture alien technology intact. Ben's team moved through the ruins of Seattle like ghosts, striking alien positions and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. Tonight, they were going after their biggest target yet. An alien command ship had landed in the port to collect resources. The ship was heavily guarded, but Ben had a plan. "Remember," he told his team as they prepared for the mission, "we need that ship working. No explosives unless we have no choice." The team included Helen Davis, a computer programmer who had learned to hack alien systems. Tony Rodriguez had joined them, bringing his homemade EMP devices. Dr. Sam Mitchell was there too. His quantum physics knowledge now focused on understanding alien technology. They attacked just before dawn. Helen used her hacking skills to disable the ship's security systems. Tony's EMP devices knocked out the alien weapons temporarily. Sam identified the ship's critical systems so the team could capture it without destroying it. The aliens never expected humans to be able to coordinate such a complex operation. They were used to fighting species that attacked in predictable ways. But humans had learned to be unpredictable. Ben's team captured the command ship in 20 minutes. More importantly, they captured it with all its systems intact. For the first time, humans had a complete alien vessel to study. Within hours, human technicians were crawling through every part of the ship. They took apart the engines, the weapons, the navigation systems, and the communications equipment. Everything was photographed, measured, and analyzed. Dr. Nicole Adams was called in to lead the technical analysis. She had been studying alien technology for months, but having a complete ship was like finding a treasure. Every system on the ship taught her something new about how alien science worked. The power distribution is completely different from what we expected, she told the team of engineers who had gathered around her. They use quantum field manipulation to control energy flow. If we can copy this. Within a week, humans had built their first hybrid spacecraft. It used human engineering combined with alien technology. The ship was crude and dangerous, but it could fly in space and fight alien vessels. The aliens watched in horror as their own technology was turned against them. It was like watching children play with weapons that could destroy planets. But the humans were not children. They were learning faster than any species the aliens had ever encountered. Farmer Joe Patterson had become something more than a farmer. His knowledge of chemistry had made him the Resistance's expert on alien biology. Joe had dissected alien bodies and studied their blood, their organs, and their nervous systems. They breathe methane mixed with oxygen, Joe explained to a group of resistance leaders. Their blood is copper-based instead of iron-based like ours. And they have a weakness we can exploit. Joe had discovered that certain Earth plants produced chemicals that were toxic to aliens. He had started growing these plants in hidden greenhouses, processing them into weapons that could kill aliens without harming humans. The aliens found themselves facing an enemy that had turned Earth's entire ecosystem into a weapon. Plants that had been harmless to humans for millions of years were suddenly deadly to invaders. Lieutenant Maria Santos had expanded her urban warfare tactics to entire cities. She now commanded resistance cells in 12 different urban areas. Her fighters moved through sewers, subway tunnels, and abandoned buildings, striking alien positions and disappearing. But Maria had developed a new strategy that terrified the aliens. She had learned to capture alien soldiers alive, every captured. Alien was interrogated by teams that included linguists, psychologists, and scientists. The aliens were not tortured, but they were studied intensively. Humans learned about alien psychology, alien tactics, and alien technology by talking to their prisoners. The information gathered from prisoners helped humans predict alien movements and counter alien strategies. The aliens began to realize that humans were not just fighting them. Humans were learning to think like them. The most shocking development came when humans began to improve captured alien technology. Engineer Tony Rodriguez had taken apart alien weapons and rebuilt them with human modifications. The modified weapons were more powerful and more reliable than the original alien versions. It's like they designed their technology to be just good enough, Tony explained to other engineers. They never tried to make it as good as possible. We can make it better. Soon, human fighters were carrying weapons that were superior to anything the aliens had. The aliens found themselves outgunned by their own technology, improved by human ingenuity. Computer programmer Helen Davis had achieved something that should have been impossible. She had not just hacked alien computer systems. She had rewritten them. Helen had created computer viruses that could spread through alien networks, causing their systems to malfunction or shut down completely. The aliens watched their own computers turn against them. Ships lost navigation. Weapons failed to fire. Communications were filled with false information. The humans had weaponized the aliens' own technology against them. But the final blow came when 12-year-old Kevin Wright achieved something that changed everything. Kevin had been modifying toy drones for 6 months, making them better at spying on alien forces. But his latest modification was different. Kevin had figured out how to make his drones invisible to alien sensors. He had studied captured alien detection equipment and found a way to make his small aircraft completely undetectable. It's like they can't see wavelengths of light that we can see, Kevin explained to the adults who had gathered to watch his demonstration. Their sensors have blind spots. I just made my drones fly in the blind spots. Kevin's invisible drones could go anywhere and see everything. They could plant explosives inside alien ships. They could spy on alien commanders. They could even deliver messages between human resistance cells without being detected. The aliens realized that humans had achieved something that their own technology could not match. A 12-year-old human child had outsmarted their best scientists. Admiral Krindar received his final report from Earth with trembling hands. His forces were not just losing the war. They were being systematically destroyed by an enemy that got smarter every day. The humans had captured 18 alien ships intact. They had killed over 7,000 alien soldiers. They had turned alien technology against its creators. And they showed no signs of slowing down. Worse, the humans were getting ready to leave their planet. Krindar's sensors detected human spacecraft being built in hidden facilities. The humans were preparing to take their war to space. Send a message to the Galactic Council, Krindar ordered. Tell them we need to evacuate Earth immediately. The humans are not a primitive species. They are the most dangerous enemy we have ever faced. But it was too late. The humans had learned to hunt aliens. And now they were ready to become the hunters instead of the hunted. The moment that changed galactic history forever came on a Tuesday morning, exactly 1 year after the first alien ships arrived at Earth. Admiral Krindar was in his command center, trying to coordinate the defense of his remaining fleet, when his sensors detected something impossible. 3 human spacecraft were rising from Earth's surface, heading directly toward his ships. The human vessels were unlike anything in the galactic database. They looked like they had been built in someone's garage, which was exactly what had happened. But they moved with deadly purpose, and their weapons were charged and ready. Admiral Rachel Stone sat in the command chair of the lead ship, UHSF Victory. Rachel had been a commercial airline pilot before the invasion. Now she was humanity's first space admiral, commanding a fleet of ships that had been built in secret, facilities around the world. The Victory was not beautiful like alien ships. It had been welded together from steel plates and alien technology. Human engineers had combined captured alien engines with human engineering in ways that should not have worked. But it flew, and it was armed with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. "Admiral," said her communications officer, "we're receiving a message from the alien fleet. They're demanding that we surrender." Rachel laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "Tell them we have a message for them too." The message that Rachel Stone sent to the alien fleet was broadcast on every frequency that Earth could reach. It was heard by every human resistance fighter, every alien soldier, and every surviving alien ship. "This is Admiral Rachel Stone of the United Human Space Forces," she said. "For 1 year, you have attacked our world. You have killed our people. You have tried to make us slaves. Today, that ends. We are coming for you." The first battle in space between humans and aliens lasted exactly 17 minutes. It should have been impossible for the humans to win. Their ships were smaller, their weapons were improvised, and their crews had no experience in space combat. The humans won anyway. They won because they fought in ways that made no sense to the aliens. When alien ships used energy shields to protect themselves, the humans rammed them with unmanned ships loaded with nuclear weapons. When alien formations tried to surround human vessels, the humans scattered in random directions and attacked from unexpected angles. Most importantly, the humans had learned to use alien technology better than the aliens themselves. Every human ship carried weapons that had been improved by human engineering. Every human pilot understood alien weaknesses that the aliens did not know they had. The battle ended when Commander Ben Jackson piloted a captured alien fighter loaded with explosives directly into the alien flagship's bridge. Ben died in the explosion, but he took the alien command structure with him. Admiral Krindar survived the destruction of his flagship, but barely. As he floated in an escape pod, he watched human ships systematically destroy the remainder of his fleet. Ships that had taken decades to build were reduced to floating debris in minutes. But the most terrifying moment came when the humans offered him mercy. "Unknown alien vessel," came a voice over his communicator. "This is Admiral Stone. We detect life signs in your escape pod. Prepare to be rescued." Krindar could not understand it. In galactic warfare, defeated enemies were either killed or enslaved. They were not rescued by their conquerors. The human ship that picked up Krindar's escape pod was commanded by Lieutenant Alex Foster, a sane Marine who had figured out how to fight alien soldiers on the ground. Alex treated Krindar with the same professional courtesy he would show any prisoner of war. "You will be returned to your people," Alex told him. "But first, you're going to deliver a message." The message that Admiral Krindar carried back to the Galactic Council was written by President Kate Williams herself. It was simple, direct, and absolutely clear. To the leaders of the galactic hegemony, Earth has defended itself against your invasion. We have defeated your forces and captured your technology. We bear no hatred toward your people, but we will not tolerate attacks on our world. Any future aggression against Earth will be met with the full force of human resistance. We prefer peace, but we are prepared for war. The choice is yours. The message was delivered along with complete technical specifications for every weapon humans had developed, every ship they had built, and every tactical innovation they had created. It was a demonstration of human capability that left the Galactic Council speechless. But the message contained something else that shocked the aliens even more than human military power. It contained an offer. Earth is willing to share our defensive technologies with any species that faces the Vexani swarm, the message continued. We understand that you are fighting for your survival. We are prepared to help, but only as equals, not as subjects. The aliens had spent thousands of years building their empire by conquering weaker species. They had never encountered a species that defeated them and then offered to help them. Dr. Nicole Adams was put in charge of the technology sharing program. She worked with alien scientists to adapt human innovations for use by different species. The quantum field manipulators that humans had developed proved to be highly effective against swarm bioships. Engineer Tony Rodriguez found himself teaching alien engineers how to improve their own technology. You've been thinking about this all wrong, he told a group of hegemony technicians. You design things to work adequately. We design things to work as well as possible. The collaboration between humans and aliens led to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. Within 6 months, the combined human-alien fleet had stopped the Vexani advance. But the most important change was not technological. It was political. The Galactic Council met in emergency session to discuss the Earth question. For the first time in their history, they were dealing with a species that had defeated them, but did not want to conquer them. The humans have rewritten the rules of galactic warfare, said Councillor Vrexan. They fight with a ferocity we have never seen, but they also show mercy we do not understand. What do they want? Asked another councillor. They want to be left alone, replied the council leader. And they want to be treated as equals. The final decision was unanimous. Earth would be classified as a sovereign world, with full diplomatic status and permanent neutrality. Any attack on Earth would be considered an act of war against the entire Galactic Council. More importantly, the Council formally requested that Earth join the galactic community as a full member, not as a conquered territory. President Williams received the galactic diplomatic offer in the same situation room where she had first learned about the invasion. She was surrounded by the same advisors, drinking the same terrible coffee, but everything had changed. What do you think? She asked General Hughes. I think we've earned the right to make our own choices, he replied. The vote was held globally, with every human on Earth participating. The question was simple. Should Earth join the Galactic Council as an equal member? The result was not unanimous, but it was clear. 73% of humans voted yes. They wanted to explore the galaxy, to learn from other species, and to help defend against threats like the Vexani swarm, but they wanted to do it on their own terms. The formal ceremony took place in orbit, around Earth. Representatives from hundreds of galactic species came to witness something that had never happened before. A primitive world becoming a galactic power in less than 2 years. Admiral Rachel Stone commanded the honor guard of human ships that escorted the galactic delegation. The ships were still crewed by alien standards, but they flew in perfect formation. A reminder of what humans could accomplish when they worked together. Dr. Sam Mitchell, now Earth's first galactic science advisor, signed the membership documents alongside President Williams. His quantum physics research had become the foundation for new technologies that were revolutionizing galactic science. The ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Billions of aliens watched as the species they had dismissed as primitive took their place among the galactic powers. But the most important moment came when former Admiral Krindar stepped forward to speak. He had requested permission to address the ceremony, and both the Galactic Council and Earth had agreed. 1 year ago, I commanded a fleet sent to conquer Earth, he said. His voice was translated into every galactic language. I believed that humans were a primitive species suitable only for labor. I was completely wrong. Krindar looked directly at the human delegation. Humans taught us that strength is not measured by the size of your weapons or the speed of your ships. Strength is measured by your refusal to give up, your ability to learn from your enemies, and your willingness to help those who once tried to destroy you. He paused, then continued. The galaxy is safer because humans exist. We are all better because we learn to see humans as they truly are, not primitive beings to be conquered, but equals to be respected. The applause that followed came from every species present. It lasted for several minutes. The final document signed that day was not the membership agreement. It was something much more important, the Galactic Non-Aggression Treaty, which established new rules for how galactic species would interact with each other. The treaty's most important